Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be my spoiler-free movie review for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I want to start this video off by saying that I wasn't really that excited to go see this movie at first. Like, when the first trailers dropped for this, I was like, oh cool, you know, like I'll probably check it out. And personally, I'm a huge fan of all of the Shrek movies. Like, I grew up watching them all multiple times. I've pretty much memorized the entire script for Shrek 1. That's how many times I've seen that thing. But basically what I'm trying to say here is that me, as a big Shrek fan, wasn't that excited for this movie. And since Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a spin-off from the Shrek movies, I'm kind of like the target audience here. Like, if I'm not that interested in it, then I don't feel like the general audience is going to be like over the moon excited for this thing. But wow, was I wrong? This movie has been getting insane reviews. People absolutely love this thing, and I am one of those people. I had a great time watching this in theaters, and I was really surprised. Like, I knew a lot of people had been giving this thing amazing reviews, but I was like, okay, let me see, you know, what this is all about here. And I enjoyed pretty much every second of this movie. But anyways, guys, let's dive into the actual movie review here. So what is this movie about? Well, Puss in Boots is down to his last life. He has died 8 times, so he has 1 left, because a cat has 9 lives, and he is a living legend. He wants to continue that legend, so he wants to find this magical star to make a wish to bring back all of his lives. And there's some other characters that are also looking for this star, because that is a pretty big deal, you know, wishing for whatever you want. So in comes Kitty Softpaws, we've got Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, and Jack Horner. All 3 of those groups of characters were fantastic in this movie. Like, Kitty Softpaws hanging out with Puss in Boots was awesome. There was some really heartfelt moments, some great comedic moments between them two as well. Goldilocks and the 3 Bears was really good. Like, at first I was like, okay, you know, whatever, like, they're in it, that's cool. But then they expanded on the story between Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, and it was really heartfelt. I enjoyed that family dynamic quite a bit, and they're like a crime family, which was a pretty clever twist, because if you think about it, Goldilocks did break into their house, and Dreamworks always puts a little bit of a spin on classic fairy tales, so to make them like a crime family, I thought was really interesting and unique. Then the other character of Jack Horner, I'm not really that familiar with him. Like, I don't think I've ever even heard of the nursery rhyme, but they do give you a bit of backstory for the character if you're someone like me that doesn't really know anything about him. And he's more of like your classic villain. He's not really got anything compelling about him. He's pretty much just a straight up bad guy, which I thought really worked for the film. His character was pretty cool, and he brings a lot of Easter eggs to this movie too. He collects fairy tale artifacts, and I can't wait for someone to break down this movie so that I know what each and every individual artifact was from. But anyways, that's kind of like the main 3 groups that are going after the wishing star. The next character I want to talk about is the Big Bad Wolf. This guy is a badass. He's terrifying. He scares Puss in Boots so bad, and the way that they directed this fear between the Big Bad Wolf and Puss in Boots was fantastic. Like, I felt goosebumps whenever he was basically hunting Puss in Boots. Like, Puss in Boots was almost having like a heart attack. His fur would pop up and everything. Like, he was terrified of this wolf. And I would say if you're bringing like a really young kid to this movie, they might be scared in some scenes. Like, he's very creepy, and he does some stuff that I was like, damn, like, they're actually allowing this in a kid's animated movie? Like, wow. Really creepy wolf. I loved every second that he was on the screen, and his character was pretty unique in this movie because he's after Puss in Boots. He doesn't care about this wishing star. So we've got Puss in Boots, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, Jack Horner, all looking for the star while the Big Bad Wolf is trying to hunt down Puss in Boots. It made for a very thrilling story, because you know that Puss in Boots has 1 life, and he's got a bounty hunter wolf chasing him while he's trying to go after the wishing star, while other people are trying to go after it too. It was action-packed, and I loved pretty much every moment. My favorite scenes are definitely between Puss in Boots and the Big Bad Wolf, and like I said, that wolf is pretty scary. I'm pretty sure a little kid in my audience had to leave because he was shook of this wolf, and I don't blame him. Like, if I was little, I'd be like, oh no, like, I gotta get out of here. But yeah, that's pretty much the story without giving anything away, because obviously this is a non-spoiler review, and we talked a bit about the characters, but there is one more character that I want to talk about, which is the dog. I think his name was Perito, and this character was amazing. Like, he's just a very cute little puppy character. He's pretty much a therapy dog for Puss in Boots, and at first I thought this character was going to be so annoying. I just wanted him to like get out of the story. I don't want to see him in this movie, but then he really grows on you. He's just a very nice character, and you just have to to love him, basically. And he's really funny, like he's just this cute little innocent puppy, but then there was this one scene where he was making fun of some characters, and he's saying a bunch of really foul stuff, and then in the movie they start using the bleep effect. I was dying. I thought it was so funny, just this cute little innocent dog just swearing at some characters. But yeah, he was a great addition to the cast. He's basically hanging out with Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws the whole time, and all three of them basically form this friendship and team and go on the adventure of looking for that last wish. Now quickly, I want to talk about some positives and negatives with this movie. So first, of course, let's start with positives. The animation was amazing. This is obviously the best like Shrek-verse movie in terms of animation because of how much it's progressed since that first Shrek movie. It was top-notch, it looked really good, and they did something really interesting with some of the fight scenes. It basically turned into almost like a comic book style. The only thing I could really compare it to is like Into the Spider-Verse. It's got that certain comic book feel to it. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but it was really cool, especially this one fight scene between Puss in Boots and like this big tree creature, and then another fight scene between Puss in Boots and the wolf. It looked so cool with this comic book style, but overall the animation was fantastic. Now another positive that I have is the whole dynamic between all of the characters. They were all kind of weaved together in a pretty unique way. Like you've got Kitty Softpaws and Puss in Boots with their history, putting them back together in this movie, and then introducing Perrito, the little dog, made this tight-knit friendship group between all three of those characters. Then you had Goldilocks and the three bears, and that group had ties to Puss in Boots and Jack Horner. They weren't just like separate groups is what I'm trying to say. Like they all had a story that kind of interwove together. So I really like the dynamic between all of the characters. I also like the dialogue. Like the script was pretty good for this movie. It was also pretty funny. Like I wouldn't say it was hilarious, like I wasn't laughing every 5 minutes, but there was definitely some pretty good jokes in this, especially Perrito, the little dog there, especially when you get to that part that, like I was saying, with all of the bleeps, that is going to make you laugh hard. And another thing that I want to praise with this movie is the suspense, because you know that Puss has one life left. There are some very real stakes here. A lot of characters could kill him, especially the big bad wolf, because the big bad wolf has a bounty that he wants to complete by killing Puss in Boots. Does he succeed? Does he not? I don't know. You gotta watch the movie. But overall, as a film, like this was actually very solid. There wasn't really anything that I would nitpick or change. Like sure, there were a couple of moments that were a little bit slower and I didn't really enjoy as much, but off the top of my head, I can only think of maybe one or two of those moments, and they weren't even that long. I don't know what to say, guys. Like this was actually a really good movie. Like I see why it has such a great rating. I definitely think this is one of the best animated movies of the year, and personally I would probably rate this movie maybe my second or third favorite in the whole Shrek franchise. Shrek 1 and 2 just have a special place in my heart. It's very nostalgic for me. I love those movies to death, and I can almost give you every single word of dialogue in them. That's how much I love them. But this movie is definitely up there. Like it is very good. Families will like it, adults will like it. I really don't think that anybody is gonna go see this movie and come out and be unsatisfied. Like I think a lot of people are gonna at least like it. Some might even love it. I've seen a lot of other movie YouTubers rank this as their favorite Shrek-verse movie, which that's a big statement because like I said, Shrek 1 and 2 is very nostalgic for myself and a lot of other people, and for the Puss in Boots The Last Wish movie to surpass those is crazy. But it was a very good film. You will have a great time watching this. Honestly, I might even go see this again. Like I had a great time just viewing this. Puss in Boots was always one of my favorite characters growing up and watching those Shrek movies, and I'm just so glad that he's such a big character he can get his own films. Antonio Banderas does a fantastic job voicing him, and I hope he plays Puss in Boots for future films too, because at the end of this one they might be teasing towards something. I'm not gonna say what it is, but I am very excited. But yeah guys, that is my spoiler-free review for Puss in Boots The Last Wish. Definitely go see this thing in theaters. I think it's gonna be a really big hit. I think the studio is gonna make a ton of money, and it's probably gonna dip into some of Avatar's earnings too, because they didn't really have any competition, especially because not a lot of people thought that this movie was gonna be as good as it is, and the fact that it is this good and the word of mouth is starting to roll out, I think Puss in Boots could do some real numbers in the box office, guys. Now before we end the video, I of course have to give you guys my rating out of 10. I am going to give Puss in Boots The Last Wish a 9 out of 10. It had great characters, great animation, great action, great comedy, comedy, a great story, a great script. It was a great movie. I wasn't expecting to like it this much, but I did. I can't wait to see it again, and I can't wait to see what they do next with this franchise. So guys, if you have seen this movie, let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought about it. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a happy new year, and I will see you guys in the next video.